everyone, welcome to Did That Age Well? I first want to start off by giving a huge shout out to sponsor of Dude IDK, Spider Moving and Storage. I recently used them to move into my new place and couldn't be happier with how efficient they were. They were so kind. They made it look so easy and it was just top-notch experience. So definitely recommend that you check them out if you've got a move coming up, residential, commercial, local, cross-country, anything in between. You can get a free quote at spidermoving.com, and you can give them a follow on social media at Spider Moving and Storage. So thanks again, Spider, for sponsoring Dude IDK. And thank you, Dude IDK, for hosting this podcast. If you like comedy and having fun, you should check out at Dude1DK, the I is a 1, on Instagram, and dudeidkcreative.com. That's the URL right now, right? DudeIDKstudios.com. I'll put the link in the show notes. So check out some events that are coming up here. We got a lot of cool podcasts and check them out. Okay, so today I couldn't be more excited to welcome my returning guest, Sean Jordan. Hello.
What's up? Thank you so much for having me. Movers are clutch. They have to exist.
Yes.
When we moved, I didn't believe it. When they came, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way they're gonna take apart our bed.
Right.
Get it in this truck. They wrap it like Dexter kills people too.
Right.
They just wrap everything up.
Yeah.
And then they got it back to our new house, and I'm like, I go to the guy, I was like, are you really gonna be able to put this together?
Yeah.
And he laughed at me and he goes, yeah, we'll figure it out. 5 minutes. Would have taken me days.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, it feels like, oh my God, it's gonna be so long. Like if I were to do it with my friends, it would have taken me truly days. What takes professionals, shock professionals, takes them like a couple hours.
Maybe $400.
Yeah.
Top 3 best times I've spent money was the movers.
Absolutely.
Engagement ring was, I got to say, top.
You got to say
I don't know
that,
what number 2 is.
Maybe a
I don't
car.
know.
Maybe
Something fun. But
maybe IVF.
Yeah, sure. Damn, I forgot about our miracle. Yes, IVF. Wedding ring, IVF, and then movers.
And then movers.
So that's pretty good company.
That's pretty good. That's
what oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's top 3. That's a pretty big deal.
What movie did we do last time? I always forget.
Okay, so
Or have we done this twice?
We've done this. Okay, so we talked about Sleepless in Seattle last time.
It's another one of my plane movies.
So good. And then way back, early days of the podcast, this must have been like 5 years ago, we talked about Clueless.
Okay. Clueless holds up. Sleepless in Seattle, I did just watch it like 5 days ago on
Were
a
you
flight.
on a plane?
I was.
Of course.
I watch it, that and The Notebook,
Yep.
and The Departed. Mm-hmm. I have like 7 flight movies.
Yeah, that's
but,
awesome.
They'd make fun of women a little too much in
Yeah.
Sleepless in Seattle. It was of the time, and there's no
Sure.
malice when they did it, but
Yeah.
they do the whole, then, women are like this, and the chick
Right.
flicks.
Yeah.
That was the only thing. Other than that, it's like,
Yeah.
I think because the last time I think it felt stalkerish, but I'm like, I don't. She just liked the dude, and she didn't do anything crazy.
No one did anything that frankly I wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And
totally.
so if I think
It's no
that's
different than
crazy,
looking
then I
someone
got to
up
take a
on-
look in the mirror. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's the equivalent kind of just finding someone's Instagram profile without them giving it to you. That's all she did. She just found
Truly.
stuff about the guy.
And how boring would a movie be about someone sliding into someone's Instagram DMs? That's why, thank God, that made that movie when they did. You know?
Yeah. It is funny watching these movies before phones.
Oh my God. In this movie, in Swingers, when he's like, I have a calling card. I've got a card. I've got a card.
When he checks
Awesome.
wants to check his
messages.
to see if she called.
Iconic.
I remember doing that with my middle school to high school girlfriend,
Yeah.
where I would just always want her to have called and left a message, and the
didn't.
heartbreak when she didn't. And this was my current girlfriend.
Yeah.
Realized she didn't like me all that much at the time, but
That's tough. But every time you thought, maybe this time will be different.
yeah.
And it wasn't.
Until I met my wife. That's what I thought every single time.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that calling card stuff, man, you
Yeah.
forget about these, how it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
And then you think now, like, what would they do in a movie like Swingers with social media?
Yeah.
He would have found her online, and then instead of him calling, like when he calls that girl and leaves 6 messages, instead
She
of
said,
that,
"Never
he would
call
have
me
sent her
again."
just a ton of DMs,
Yeah.
and that would have been the equivalent.
And that would have been so boring in a movie, you know, unless he's like saying it as he's typing it out, which people don't really do unless they're with their friends and they're like, hey, can I run this by you?
It is one of those. It's one of those things in movies. They have to do it.
Yeah.
Just to get. But it's like, no, I've never in my whole life have I read something out loud to myself, like a DM to myself.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's
crazy.
I certainly don't read them to other people. I don't know. But it is one of those things. Or like, like when they're writing a letter and you're like, I've never, dear Laura, I've never done that. I never will.
Yeah.
Unless she's in the room, then it would be funny.
Then
if
it
I was
would be
writing
really
her a letter,
funny. Yeah.
and then, dear Laura, I love you so much. Dinner was so good. I wish I knew how to cook.
Yeah.
I'll see you in our bedroom.
And then you look up at her, smile, then kind of slide it across the
Light
table.
the letter on fire, walk out the door. I'll be back when I feel like it.
Yeah. I love that.
I'm stepping on the structure. I'm talking about this movie. We have a structure, so don't let me impede.
No. That's okay. Structure is a really, I think that's a really generous word for this podcast. I'm curious what made you choose the movie Swingers? I know you've seen it a bunch, but like, what's your history with this movie?
My history with this movie is really interesting. So, Swingers and The Big Lebowski. Mm-hmm. My dad showed up one day, and he just had those movies, and he goes, hey, we need to watch these. He rented them. When did this come out? 94? 96?
Yeah.
So I was 14, and I had just started skating. Maybe I was 15, but I had just started skateboarding. I did not want to sit and watch these movies at all. And we watched them both back to back.
No way.
Yeah, and watching them, immediately I just thought, man, this is what a good idea this was for you to make me watch these movies.
Yeah.
I didn't quite grasp. I thought it was supposed to be like a period piece of the 50s when I was so young.
Totally.
Because they were all I didn't put together that they were in current Los Angeles, 90s Los Angeles, but they were just these 50s guys.
Right.
Even though most of the other people in the movie, like when they run into those other guys, they're clearly not in the 50s. They're like 90s gangster guys.
But if you're like 14 or 15, you don't know what's going on.
So that was kind of, because I think the cover was a little bit of a deterrent, because to me, I thought it was this like Frank Sinatra sort of, I'm not going to dig this movie. Totally. But then we watched it, immediately fell in love with Vince Vaughn. How could you not?
Right. He's so lovable in this movie. So charming.
I mean, it gave him a career. He would have got a career otherwise. But
it launched him.
And then, my dad started saying baby all the time. It didn't work.
It didn't
work with him. He started saying I was money all the time. Didn't work.
That also doesn't work.
But I immediately fell in love with the movie. And then all through high school, complete, Friday night, all the dudes put on Swingers, sit
go to
in
the
someone's
video
room.
store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, this was an early purchase for sure.
Yeah,
this was
awesome.
We didn't have to go rent this.
Oh yeah. You were just saying this is one of the two that your dad was like, I got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, he loved it. And same thing with Big Lebowski, but we're not talking about that. But yeah, that was kind of my intro to Swingers.
Yeah. And you still watch it regularly?
If I'm not trying to lie, I bet I watch Swingers twice a year.
Nice. Probably
not all the way through.
Yeah.
Most movies, they like the third act, it doesn't lose me, but if I know it so well, because by the time you're in the third act, most of the iconic scenes have kind of gone through. Maybe I'm wrong, but
no, I think that's fair to say. I think, well, the swing dancing scene to me is the most iconic, and that's in the third act. However, the rest of the most iconic scenes probably in the first two acts.
Yeah, but I mean, I do watch it. I try to watch it all the way. If not, I stop it just a little bit early. But the beginning all the way, 6/7 of the movie.
Yeah,
I watch.
Yeah, totally. And you, unlike me, you are a man and you have lived in LA. Do you feel like this captures?
I went to the Dresden.
Yeah.
I mean, it to me it feels like yes. Especially it's just of the time, but everybody driving their own car.
Yeah.
Everything being so far away.
Oh
everything being crowded as hell. Everything being shitty. Everyone being fake. I'm not not saying that is Los Angeles, but that's part of Los Angeles. Is like you'll go. My limited experience with going to, I don't know, house parties and stuff.
Yeah.
You would get that like this thing. You walk in and people do that. And everybody could be someone. You never know. Like I could have been on The Big Bang Theory at some point. You never know. So just that, it felt pretty accurate. And it's so hard to meet people.
Yeah.
What are you going to just walk up to? let me ask you this. Have you ever just walked up to someone and hit on them?
Only if it was like we're in a contained space where I'm like, I know someone who knows that person. You know what I mean? Where it's like I'm at a house party or something like that.
Just a cold walk up at a bar seems batshit to me. I'm like, I'm there. Normally, I'm there to drink. I've never been one where my goal was to go meet someone.
Right.
It's happened.
Sure, because you happen to be standing next to someone instead of making it look like you happen to
never
be
been
standing
like,
next to one.
ooh, look at that girl across the bar. She's looking at me.
Yeah.
There's no, I can't. So that's another fun part of the movie is you get to vicariously live through these people who do that successfully, and then you also see the real version, which is Mikey, Jon Favreau, the realistic version where you're like, that's what I would be like.
Of course,
I wouldn't be like Trent or Sue.
No, absolutely not. Those two characters, despite also being kind of like down bad in their own way, are so aspirational. Whereas I think Mike is the one that like the everyman is supposed to relate to. Him and Ron, you know?
Like, is his name in the movie Ron? Ron Livingston?
It's Rob.
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 So, yeah.
Yeah. Easy mix up.
But they also look normal.
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn and whatever Sue's name is are
Patrick
gorgeous.
Van Horn. He kind of fell off the map. Never really saw him again.
They're gorgeous. They look like models. That Sue Patrick Van Horn has those like puffy lips. He just looks a boy name. He just has the vibe.
Yeah.
Favreau, attractive, and he's also real buff in this movie.
He's buff.
But him and Ron Livingston look a little more like your average kind of, and they even dress. Ron Livingston just looks, he's like golf shorts or whatever.
Totally, yeah. They're a little bit more normal. They're a little bit more like relatable, I think, especially for most young people living in LA, being like, what am I doing here? Like pretending like they love it a lot of the time, but then like when you get to know them a little bit better, they're like, actually, I haven't been booked in months.
It's a scary place. I mean, I moved there when I was old, 36, so a little different.
Yeah.
I'm not young. I didn't have the energy that a 22-year-old would have if they moved there, or a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
But to the point, like Swingers getting LA, I went to the Dresden immediately because that's right. It was one of the first times where I saw this bar in a movie, and then I'm walking down Vermont. I think it's Vermont in Los Feliz, and it's just there's the Dresden,
and you're like, I gotta go in.
I honestly was like, that can't be it, right? And all my friends go, yeah, that's that. Well, where else? It says the Dresden,
right?
So I thought it was a set or whatever,
right?
And then that golf course in Los Feliz, that 3-putt, that's right across the street from this place called the Roost that we always used to go to.
Oh, so, nice. That's awesome.
Griffith Park, I hiked in Griffith. That was one of those things too. But yeah, it was seemed pretty accurate version of LA.
Yeah, totally. It felt like when they were talking about like how every cool bar is like in a weird location with no sign.
You got to know about it. You got to know
someone.
If you tell a girl you've been somewhere, it's almost like you're bragging that you know how to get there.
Exactly. Yeah. They're like, it's like speakeasy vibes. I'm like, oh my God. It's so LA.
And they walk in, they go down that alley and walk in, and it's just shoulder to shoulder, which that's something in my old age. I just don't, fuck that. I don't have we were doing that last night. We were at this bar after a show, and my friend Shane, he goes, let's just go across the street where no one's there and have some room, you know?
Oh, just some room to breathe, room to talk, you know?
I can't. I don't got it in me anymore.
Yeah, totally. I remember feeling like, oh, I am turning into my mom when I was in this like really crowded bar and I was trying to have a conversation with my friend and I said, God, I can't even think in here. And that's what happens, you know?
And I don't want to stand up. Call me crazy. I don't want to stand up that long.
I'd like to have a seat.
I want to sit down. I don't want
booth,
my butt
preferably.
to sweat. Yeah. I want to know there's a bathroom.
Yes.
That I can like get to.
Yeah.
That's another. All this stuff is me being old. But I get sweaty. If I'm just standing. I get stressed, and I'm like, I don't want to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I want to sit down.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to pee most of the time.
Right.
I want to be able to go to. That's another thing about these crowded bars. You just can't go to the bathroom.
No.
There's nowhere to pee.
There's nowhere to pee, and that means like. Especially if you're in LA, it's like, okay, well, it's going to take 30 minutes to get there at least. And so you're going to have to pee at home. And you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to pee for another 6 hours, you know?
Yep.
Oh, God. Well, one thing that I think should be said right off the bat is that I got a lot of info from the oral history called So Money by Alex French and Howie Kahn, which was written in 2014, which is an interesting time to read the oral history because it was before the public really knew about Harvey Weinstein being like.
Was he involved in this movie?
Yeah, so he was the Miramax guy. So when
That's right, yeah.
So he wasn't involved in the making of the movie, but he was the one who bought the movie, distributed it.
Probably had his greasy little hands all over it,
He had
didn't
his
he?
greasy little paws all over it.
What a bummer.
Yeah, I know. So that is a bummer. So there is a lot in the oral history about like, the impact of Miramax, which, I mean, the reality is that Miramax distributed and made a lot of incredible movies.
A lot of movies for young men, for sure. If you were a young boy,
sure, yeah.
they really hit home for me. Miramax did. I mean, that was
for
all
sure.
the Kevin Smith movies, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And like all of those like late 90s, early 2000s indie movies that were like so cool.
Those movies where I got my first what's one? I remember like The Squid and the Whale. This wasn't Miramax, but it's a movie where I went in and I rented it and I'm like, I don't even know if I saw anything about it.
Right.
It just looked indie.
You're like,
I went
it's got
and rented
that
it.
cool look.
All cool. I'm set it down. That like Running with Scissors, The Kite Runner.
Totally.
There were all these movies. Youth in Revolt was another one. Anyway, Miramax did Swingers.
Yeah. They were definitely like, we're the cool guys. We're going to buy the cool guy movies. But the making of this film, I think, is one of the things that makes it hold up the best because everyone from the outside thought these guys were so stupid for making this movie on $200,000.
Yeah, so cheap.
So cheap.
Favreau wrote it, right? And Doug Liman directed? Or was it
Yeah.
Doug Liman?
Yeah, Doug Liman directed it. Favreau wrote it in like a week and a half. His dad gave him software for screenwriting, and he was like, I'm going to just kind of play around with this and write what I think a screenplay would be. And then he came out with this. It was like drawn a lot from his own personal experience. A lot of the characters are based on his own friends. And then, of course, like the house party, there's no extras. They just threw a house party with all their friends.
Did they really?
Yeah, they really did.
You found that out? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they...
Seems like it. It seems like that's what was going on.
Right, yeah. And some of the people at the house party were Mike White, Adam Scott, like a bunch of people who are now like
Interesting.
a big deal. They were all just like buddies
There's
living
a
in
scene
LA.
in Superbad, if you look, where they're at the party where the girl dances on Jonah Hill's thigh and leaves blood on his thigh.
Oh, yeah.
But if you look in the background, it's all like Danny McBride. They're all...
Yeah.
I like that stuff. I like when you can see that it's kind of all in the family.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
sort of like that with stand-up too, and I've been lucky enough to be included on the outside of a lot of some of those groups where you're like, I can't believe I'm even in the room with these people. So it is.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's fun to see that.
Yeah.
And then to see everybody branch out and know that they were all so talented at the time.
Yeah.
They just didn't get their shot yet.
Totally. But that's the fun thing is like seeing someone and being like, oh my God, you didn't even know that you were going to be such a big deal. Like Mike White wrote Chuck and Buck after he saw Swingers and like, was a part of being on the, kind of on the outskirts on it. Cause he was like, oh, I guess you can just kind of make a movie about people doing stuff and not really that much is happening, but a lot is happening like under the surface. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Sorry.
No worries. But also speaking of like the extras, they shot all of the bar scenes just like at the bar. Like those were just like real bar patrons. And so they had to just use the lighting from the bar, like house lighting, didn't bring anything extra because they didn't want to like make people scatter. They needed people to be there, like actually drinking, interacting with each other. And they shot it on this documentary style camera on leftover film. Like it was like not designed sound wise for dialogue. So they like put these like jackets and comforters over the camera and just kind of like
that guerrilla filmmaking stuff. It's so fun.
It's so fun.
And it shouldn't have worked, but you watch it and it's just so immediately classic.
Yeah.
And again, most of that is Vince Vaughn, just the charisma flying out of that man. When
totally
I forget like the right away when he's in his kitchen, Favreau's in his kitchen and Vince is like we're going to Vegas, baby.
Right.
He goes, I'm not going to Vegas. Can I talk now? You pick out something nice to wear. And you can just tell, you're like, I want to see this guy in Vegas.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that's what hooks you is when they get to Vegas and Vince Vaughn immediately just starts throwing, like, they're going to give Daddy the Rain Man suite. Daddy's going to pull a Fredo.
Right, yeah.
I don't care if I end up with her or one of her beautiful baby friends. There's all these things. And he doesn't, I guess to the point, does it hold up? To me, he doesn't seem smarmy. He just seems like somebody who is actively trying to have sex.
Right.
In a very consensual way.
Yeah.
And again, it's like of the time they do when he's like talking about girls like they're an injured young fawn or things like that.
Yeah.
And that's slimy.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel that way. It didn't feel like they weren't.
Yeah.
He didn't have like testosterone radiating out of his body or anything.
Right.
He was just kind of talking that way.
Right. It seemed like he was really trying to woo women, but not manipulate them. Like the women really are, I mean, to their credit, they give the women some smarts. Like they're always like smarter, like a step ahead than the men who are hitting on them. But I think that there were a few things like that kind of made me pause. Like, I mean, I love the Jaws thing when they're like,
sure, but that's
the way that they use it. But
woman,
that's also like
you don't want to feel like you're prey, like you're
literally prey.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's not subtle and like I'm a predator kind of.
It's hard
message,
to look at these things as I'm so old. I'm constantly trying to get better. I feel like just part of when I grew up. My wife always tells, she's like, this is a movie for guys. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. The woman hasn't said a word in an hour. And I just miss that all the time.
Yeah.
So I try. So I was going to ask you, like, as a woman, how do you feel about that? Or like when he hits on the girl and then tears up her number.
Oh,
is that him being like a shitty guy, or is that just him showing off?
Well, I think that he was kind of trying to show off to his friends, but I think more than the ripping of the number was that he was like, oh, she's, what do they call her?
Business
like
class.
Business class. That was what I was like, okay, that's fucked up. The fact that she was annoying and like wouldn't stop yapping about some bullshit, I'm like, okay, yeah, I wouldn't want to talk to her either. But then when it was like, oh, well, that's not the reason. It's because she's got a big butt. It's like that part to me, I was like, dang, she really can't catch a break, you know?
Yeah. So I always thought, and because of this movie, I always thought business class. Wait, what do they say? Because they say coach something. I always thought business class was bad because of that sentence in that movie. But business class is like first class, right?
They're saying like she needs to buy a seat in business class because her butt doesn't fit in the regular seat. Oh, it doesn't go in
coach.
Yeah.
See, I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
So those are the things, because you can't deny your thoughts. A thought comes into your head. You can't, but they're the things that shouldn't necessarily come out, you know?
Yes. Things that when you say, oh, that was kind of my first instinct, but maybe I'm going to think critically about this.
Or you don't say it at the party, you know?
Exactly.
You get home in confidence. I've been in rooms with women. I've heard them say some pretty gnarly shit about guys.
Yeah.
And I've heard guys say but you vent sometimes. And something
Totally.
shallow like that, you don't say at the party.
You don't say it in front of all these people. You don't make a show of ripping up the number. You know, I didn't think that he was a bad guy because he didn't want to go on a date with this girl. You know, it was like he saw her from across the room. She was smoking a cigar, looking cool as fuck, frankly. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to shoot my shot. And then after talking to her, realized, oh, I actually don't like her personality. That's perfectly fine. But then when he's like ripping up the number, making a big show of it, and then talking about how her butt's too big for a regular airplane seat, that's when I'm like,
which, by the way, I bet you that woman weighed 90 pounds.
That was, even more than that. She was conventionally so thin.
But the thing is, so like Vince Vaughn proves in this movie through the whole thing that he is a good guy. This is what I wonder with, because the womanizing would seem that he's not a good person, but he looks out for his friends so much. He seemingly, he's not, I don't see him really be disrespectful to a woman in the room or anything.
Right.
He just seems like a good guy. He he avoids confrontation. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think that I agree that he is not explicitly disrespectful to women to their faces, but the way that I feel really torn about the way that he's trying to explain to Mike how he how he plays his game. You know, like Mike is, you know, he's got his own faults too. He's like, all the women here are nasty skanks, which I forgot.
He's jaded from a breakup.
He's jaded.
He doesn't really think that. He's just trying to convince himself that he doesn't want any of them because deep down he doesn't think he can get any.
Exactly. So he's putting them down so that he doesn't have to be like rejected, which I get. You know, we've all been there, right?
I don't want to get booked in Phoenix, whatever. I don't like the heat.
I hate Phoenix.
And then meanwhile, if they book me, I'm like, Phoenix fucking rules, man.
Yeah,
So
you're like, I take it all back. Of course.
That's what Mikey's doing, and Vince is trying to help him out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that he, there's some stuff that he says, like, you know, you see how they dress when you go out. They don't want you to respect them. They want honesty, but...
You can have both, by the way.
You can
definitely respect somebody and be honest at the same time.
That makes me think like he sees himself not necessarily as like a good guy. He sees himself as like a winner. But it's hard to tell because a lot of that I think is just that like that peacocking of being in your 20s and being a guy trying to make it in LA. You know?
And again, it's of the time, and also like comedies aren't supposed to be time. They're definitely for the era. You know, all of these like raunchy early comedies, people give them shit, and it's like, well, it's not The Godfather. It's not supposed to hold up for 100 years. So there are those things. It's a time capsule. It just is how certain things were. So I try to think of that. Yeah,
that's what I try to do. I mean, really, anytime I'm talking about a movie from especially this era, like the 90s and early 2000s, to think about things in the context of when they were made, to say, like, is this a reflection of the time? Was it ahead of its time? Was it dragging behind? And I think with this one, it was ahead of its time in the way that it showed this, like, tenderness and care among male friends. It was almost like, but at the same time, it was almost like a reverse Bechdel test where, like, so much of the movie they are talking about women. We don't really see women a lot. We don't hear from women a lot, but like the whole thing is like...
What is the Bechdel test again?
It's like how much, if there's like women talking in a movie, how much of the time are they talking about a man? And also like how much are they talking in general?
Not a ton. I mean, because what does it start with? It's the first women we meet are the girls in Vegas.
Right.
That are, I mean, there's women at the poker table or whatever, but the first like women we meet are the ones in Vegas. And that doesn't seem crazy one-sided. They're just like having a trailer conversation, right?
Totally, yeah. But one thing that I did think was funny about that scene, I don't know, maybe I'm a little naive, but it seemed to me like such a male fantasy that like you would just find two beautiful women who like want to have sex with you that easy.
Of course, and that's the world they're trying to build.
Right.
And again, that it is funny though, because at least they have, which it would suck to be the woman in this position.
Right.
They're just two women at a bar, and when you walk up on them, they can't just be standing there having a drink by themselves. There were 30 guys, right? And the seas parted, and Vince and Favreau walk up. But these girls were even like outward facing, as if to say like, there's no way that we could just be here and just have a drink.
Of course.
Where like if I went into a bar with 40 women, me and a buddy, we could easily just sit and have a drink. I'd like to think that we couldn't, but we could. We probably wouldn't get talked to all night.
You'd probably have a perfectly fine conversation.
So that like, I don't know if that would mean the movie doesn't hold up. Unfortunately, that is just a reality. That sucks.
Yeah.
But that is how it is, probably. If those two women did go to that bar, that's probably what would be happening. Doesn't make it okay, but that doesn't mean it's a bad scene right? Am I making sense?
No, I totally agree. It's not like I'm not gonna hold Jon Favreau accountable for being like, you should have made sure that those women were having a conversation with each other and told those guys to go away.
That would have been a nice thing to see.
Exactly, yeah. Like, it would have been good if maybe they had just kind of put them, humbled them a little bit. But, I mean, Jon Favreau's character did humble himself when he called Nikki 15 times or whatever.
And that's what I like about Does It Hold Up, is that he made himself a huge mark in the
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
Like he's so heartbroken, and he sacrificed sex,
Yeah.
having sex with a woman because he just couldn't do it, and then they
Yeah.
end up talking and stops Vince Vaughn from having sex,
Right.
which was great
So
too.
funny.
And then they just make coffee, and Vince is in that little robe,
Oh my God.
and you know what's funny is I've never been, if it's ever happened where I have to stop having sex,
yeah.
it's all right. It's
Yeah.
I've never
You're
been
like, okay.
it just, I don't know, maybe I got that low T, but I've never been like, it's just like, yeah, all right, well,
Yeah.
next time
You're like, well, I guess next time.
we'll get him again. you
Yeah,
know?
totally. But, in this case, it was a once in a lifetime opportunity in Vegas, with this girl. He's never going to see her again. But
Which
surely he's going to have sex again within the next 3 days.
The handful of times I've been, yeah, right, Vince Vaughn
You
has
know?
no problem, but
Yeah.
the handful of times I've been to Las Vegas, the thought of, I've been married for all, let's say I wasn't
Yeah.
married, the
Okay.
thought of trying to meet a girl, everywhere feels like a basketball game just got out. It's
Absolutely.
all madness and chaos.
Yeah.
And if you did talk to a person, a
Yeah.
girl, it's going to be a girl with 15 other people
Of
or
course.
something. If I saw someone by themselves, I'd be weirded out. I would think they
Yeah,
were
you'd
there
think-
like leaving Las Vegas style or something.
Absolutely. You'd be like,
Or they're lost or they're on Molly or something and they just don't know what's
totally.
going on.
You're like, am I going to call an ambulance or am I going to call, who are we going to call here?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think Vegas would be an impossible place to meet people. But you know what?
I've seen, no names, but I've seen
Sure.
it happen. Friends of mine, and I'm just like, you
Good for them.
are cooler than the other side of the pillow. I don't know how that
Absolutely.
happened.
I mean, it's that Vince Vaughn type, Here's the thing about Vince Vaughn that really kind of baffles me is that in this movie, in his early work, I found him to be so charming, so charismatic, and hot. And then I think throughout his career, he was just typecast as bland man. And I haven't really felt dazzled by him in decades.
Well, and again, this might go to the point of movies for dudes.
Right.
But the frat pack, like
Yeah.
him and Will Ferrell and Luke Wilson and Owen Wilson, like that.
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn's like Wedding Singers and Old School and all
Yeah.
that stuff absolutely floored me.
Yeah.
When I saw Old School and Wedding Crashers,
Yeah.
they were the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Right.
Now, Wedding Crashers doesn't hold up. I will tell you that if you've
Oh,
ever
we're-
talked about it.
We're talking about that in a few weeks, actually.
That one is a little where you're like, yeah.
Yikes.
But they don't, like, Rachel McAdams Bradley Cooper touches on it when he goes, they go to weddings and trick women into having sex with
Yeah.
them. And it's an interesting conversation to have because what is the trick is that they know someone at the wedding. So that's the trick.
Right, or that they prey on vulnerable women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I struggle with this as being like sort of ignorant in that sense. Like, where's the line of like preying on someone? Like if you go to a wedding
Right.
and somebody, it just is overwhelmed with the feeling of love and I want to get married and I can see this in this person tonight. Is that preying on someone?
That's so tough because part of me is like, well, there are some contexts in which it's better to shoot your shot, where you're going to have a better chance of shooting your shot. But also there is that line of are you exploiting someone?
Well, they
in a
lie the
vulnerable
whole time.
position?
They're lying
They
the
are
whole
lying.
time.
Yeah. So
And
that
so
definitely, I
That's
think,
tricking.
makes it tricking. Yeah. Because they're even they're at the wedding under false pretenses. I think that the fact that they are directly going after vulnerable women and not just I think
Targeting.
yeah, exactly. Like the way that Jon Favreau's character goes up to Lorraine when they're in the kind of nearing the end
Is that
of the
Heather
movie.
Graham?
Yeah.
She's Lorraine.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, what a good get.
Oh my God.
It's
yeah.
like Natalie Portman in Garden State, where you're like everything. This
Yeah.
is because Heather Graham was the famous person in the movie.
Yeah.
There was no one else, right?
No one else was famous. Yeah.
And so they got her, and that seemed like what gave it that foothold to get produced and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. She was really the only person
good
who
on
had
her for
name
seeing it.
recognition. I know, right?
For being like, yeah, all right, I can handle this.
Totally. To be like, yeah, I'll swing dance a little. Whatever.
Yeah, right.
that situation felt a little bit different to me than something like, you know, the guys in Wedding Crashers, because even though she was kind of fresh out of a breakup, he didn't know that until after they had started talking a little bit.
Well, and he was too, by the way,
and he
fresh
was
out of a
too.
breakup.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is where, because you can definitely go talk to someone in a bar.
Right.
That's kind of a social contract you've signed. Now, you shouldn't hound someone. You shouldn't.
No.
30 people. Like if I saw a guy talking to a girl, I shouldn't go up.
You wouldn't say,
and
"Can
be
I
like,
butt in?"
Excuse me, can I buy you a drink? You know, maybe whatever. Maybe there's a circumstance where even that would be okay, but that seems
Right.
insane to me. But
Totally.
if someone is alone or a group of people, it's okay to walk up and talk. If they say fuck off, then you got to fuck off.
Exactly.
That's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
So him approaching her, because she was alone,
Yeah.
he's alone, and he doesn't have any tricks.
Right.
At the end, he just, you know, you can go talk to someone.
Yeah.
That holds up.
And the fact that we see that the first time that he is actually honest with someone and he's not
Right, that it
trying to put
works.
on a front, that it works. Kind of going directly against the advice that he got from Trent in the beginning of the movie when he's like, girls don't want. Or no, maybe he does say
Some
they
girls
want you
don't.
to be honest. I can't remember.
By the way, Trent isn't. Some people, not just women, some people don't want. They want. Some people do just want to go have sex. Men
Yeah.
and women both. So
Totally.
there is that can be okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be so steadfast and driven that is
Yeah.
the only option.
Absolutely.
I can't imagine lying. I wouldn't know what to do if I just started
Yeah.
making up a story.
Oh, yeah.
Wedding Crashers more, where they're talking about being astronauts and baseball players and shit.
Right, totally.
But if I did anything other than be honest, I
Right.
wouldn't even know how to say the words.
Totally. Like and we see it when
Especially on a cold call like that, where
Oh
you,
my
hey, I'm
God.
Sean. You're attractive. You know.
Yeah.
How you doing? I can't even imagine doing anything other than that.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Sean. You're gorgeous. Can I buy you a drink?
Right.
But even then, this is what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
you should be able to do that, but
Right.
it seems, because I talked to my wife about it. The reason that I asked her out is because I saw her and I thought she was beautiful.
Of course.
And so, because she gave me a little pushback on that, where, and I'm like, well, that's just the initial thing, you know. It's not the
Sure.
only thing.
Yeah.
But that's what I noticed, you know. And
Yeah.
beauty in the eye of the beholder. Like everyone's beautiful, but
Of course.
for me, I saw my wife and I thought,
Yeah.
you know, and then I fell in love with her.
Yeah.
So like you got to be able to walk up and talk to someone.
Totally. Like I think that you can't blame someone for thinking that another person is attractive and for that being the drive to go up and talk to them. Otherwise, like, how would people?
And again,
know.
not saying like if you do want to just walk up to someone and strike up a conversation, whether or
Sure.
not you think they're attractive,
Yeah.
and then you end up falling in love for other reasons.
Sure.
Perfect.
That's perfectly fine.
That can
yeah.
all happen.
And you could even strike up a conversation with someone who you think might be interesting just to be
Mm-hmm.
friends. But that's not really what this movie is, you know?
No,
But
it's all about that's the interesting part. Like,
Yeah.
does it hold up because it's all sex driven? Then, yeah, I don't know. It's fun to talk about.
But the thing that's interesting too is that this movie ultimately is not necessarily about these guys like pursuing women or really even about like the ex-girlfriend herself. It's about the friendship between these guys. Like the real love story is between Trent and Mike, you know? And so on the one hand, it makes me feel like, oh, well, I guess the women are just kind of like chess pieces in this game where they're just building a connection with each other as men. But also, it is really, there's something really sweet and something I think that we lost in a lot of the bromantic comedies since then, where they are just so caring to each other. And like their friendship is so, it's so tender, it's so heartfelt. They really care about each other. Like when Rob comes over to Mike's house, when he's like,
When he stinks and the
he's
blinds
like,
are drawn.
You haven't eaten? You didn't eat yesterday? And he just is like truly there to like take care of his friend. And I think that's so sweet to see.
Of course, it was
Yeah.
one of the, what am I trying to say? I've always felt like that with my friends.
Yeah.
And maybe movies like this had an influence on that.
Yeah.
Where, I'll bring my friends all the time. I want to, like, hey, I'm coming over. You need anything? You want a
Right.
sandwich or a coffee or whatever? Like,
Yeah.
it's just, that's how you got to be. I say I love you to my friends
Oh, yeah.
all the time.
Totally.
We hang up the phone and you would think we were married.
Totally.
So I love that relationship.
Yeah.
Between
Especially
those
'cause-
two specifically.
Because they're always calling each other baby, too.
Mm-hmm.
So you are kind of like, it's sort of like you're in love. But they are in love in a way.
I'm in love with all of my friends. I just don't want
course.
to bone them. But
Absolutely.
yeah, we're definitely in love with my friends.
Of course. And that is, I mean, and that is really, I think, sweet to hear, especially as they're putting on this like aesthetic of swing time, like sort of this like old Frank Sinatra type of vibe where men probably wouldn't have any tenderness with each other.
Ooh, Frank
know?
and Dean, you don't.
Yeah. I don't
You want
think
to talk
that they
about
were
something
saying,
that doesn't
"I love
hold
you."
up?
Yeah.
I bet you catch them in a bar some night.
Yeah, you don't
None
want to
of
know.
that would hold up.
Absolutely not. There's way more F slurs in that conversation.
Have you seen Frank Sinatra's mugshot?
Oh yeah.
He is so fucking attractive.
Oh yeah.
He looks
It's
like
dangerous
what you would
how hot
think
he is.
a bank like Johnny Depp in Public Enemies. That's what Frank
Yeah.
Sinatra really looked like.
Oh yeah.
I saw it like a month ago for the first time. It blew my mind. He just
You saw it for the first time a month ago?
I think so. He just
That's
looks
amazing.
phenomenal.
And he was arrested for being like too hot or something.
Yeah. Having just the right amount of alcohol in him,
Yep.
but still being over whatever the legal limit was at that time.
Oh yeah.
Probably a
Which
judgment
was
call.
probably. Yeah, totally. I feel like it was kind of refreshing to see these guys in like, what was easily confused as a period piece to a 14 or 15-year-old.
Right.
Like they just look so cool. They look
Mm-hmm.
so cool, but it comes with way less of the baggage of, oh, they hate women,
It
And
doesn't
that's
feel
cool.
like that at all. It
Yeah.
just feels like they're hustling, which, is a bit smarmy, but it doesn't feel like they're,
Yeah.
I don't know. See, it's who wants to hear a man say this? So I hesitate because it is true. Who gives a
Right.
fuck what I have to say? Do you feel like they were using anyone or like being, I don't know.
I think on the one hand, they were. Well, this is another thing that's kind of a gray area where when you're supporting a friend going through a breakup, you want to help them. You want to help them feel better. You want to help them get their groove back, and you say, "Okay, how can we help you get laid?"
I used to have
Who
a bit
among
about
us has not done that?
I
you
used
know?
to have a bit about that where
Yeah.
I can't remember the bit. It was so bad. So I was such a bad comedian, but that was the crux of it, the thesis of like me going through a breakup and my
Yeah.
friends saying, "All right, let's go. We're going to get you laid." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"How? Tell me how you're going to do that. What are you going to do?"
Yeah. How
'Cause
could you
it
make that
just-
happen?
Because it doesn't. You can go out, and I'm a really good third, fifth, seventh wheel.
Absolutely.
I can fall in great with
Yeah.
a group of people, and I can definitely try to facilitate a friend, someone talking to another person with sex being the end goal.
Yeah.
However that looks,
Totally.
but it's on you. It's not on my friends.
Of course, you can't be pulling all the weight.
No,
you know?
they could lob something up, but I'll definitely find a way to screw it up for sure. And I have, because it's happened a few to
Right.
where some friends of mine it just worked, and they're like, I think this girl, I think she might be into you,
Right.
And countless times the next day where they're like, what happened? I go, well, nothing.
Well,
What do you
obviously nothing.
think?
Yeah.
I'm me, and nothing
Yeah.
happened.
And I mean, that's what happened to Mike. They all tried so hard. They gave him all the lessons they could. They set it up perfectly. They gave him the lob.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, he could not help himself but to call her that night, leave
That
her 6
holds up.
voicemails.
I keep trying. I feel like I don't want to babble too much. I want to bring it back to the point of does
No,
this hold
that's
up?
okay.
But that to me holds up
Me
because he felt like he was being too aggressive. So just ran through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then she called, and he was a lunatic.
Yeah,
of
totally.
course you'd think he was psychotic.
Right.
And then he never did call her again. Which, to his credit, he's like, "You're right. Sorry,
Right.
I messed that up."
Absolutely. And also, it
God,
was
when she
the
answers,
Oh,
makes me turtle up so
oh
bad.
my God. That part, I mean,
and you've been there the whole time.
yeah.
Mike, don't ever call
Don't
me
ever
again.
call me again. Oh, it's so
I cut you
good.
off. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Oh God, let me see. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. the recurring bit of people saying, oh, you should call that Nikki girl. It's been 2 days. And also how they call it industry standard.
That shit was hilarious to me.
So funny.
We used that one for a while. Just, it's such a fun, simple version of some slang. But
Yeah.
when you do break it down to what he's talking about, like their industry is just having sex.
Totally.
And the industry standard is 2 days. But I remember trying to put that into practice. Like if you, because I was still, when I'm 14, 15, 16, that was getting numbers.
Yeah.
There was no, MySpace didn't start until I was, I don't know, 20, I don't know. But
Yeah.
we were still like literally getting numbers and writing them on paper. And that was the currency
Yeah.
for dating back then.
Yep.
So I did try to put that into practice because you did wonder, you don't want to get a number and immediately.
Call.
But now I wonder what so like you find someone's Instagram or
Right.
whatever, do you have to wait to DM them?
I don't know. These are the rules that I don't know.
I
I was
neither.
gonna ask you, but I feel like you're the wrong person to ask because you're married.
Well, so it's funny because when we met, Laura would have fit perfectly in the 50s.
Yeah.
I mean, just like looks amazing in a swing dress. One of the people who can like spin around and the
That's
dress
so cool.
furls up, and you're like, this is the decade you belong in.
That's awesome.
But I sent her a message on Facebook. That's where the first.
Nice.
So I sent her a message on Facebook, small talk, and then I think I asked her out, and she
Yeah.
goes, "If you call me on the phone, we can maybe talk about that."
That's awesome.
So I was terrified at work, and I'm like
Oh my
pacing
God.
around outside. But that is the true. You got to talk to someone because
Yeah.
when you type, you got all this time to think about it. You can't
Totally.
get a feel for someone. You need to.
Yeah.
I need to know how they are on the fly. What are you
Right.
saying? What are you saying right now to make me laugh?
Yeah.
Not in 10 minutes to make me laugh.
Right.
What are you running by your friends in that 10 minutes?
Totally.
I need you on the phone. So she was right.
Yeah. That's
I-
awesome.
I did an okay job, I think.
Well,
I
it
must
worked
have because
out.
we were married with a kid. So.
Yeah, totally. It worked out. You must have not screwed it up that much.
But I remember because it harkened back to the day where
Yeah.
that sense of those butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
They're so much more real when you're in the moment.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
So I
there-
don't know what it's like now. You probably got to wait. I don't know. Nick, you got any idea? No? I don't know. I don't know if I would wait. Maybe.
I think it's okay to message someone maybe like later that night or the next day to be like, hey, it was really nice to meet you. Mm-hmm. You know?
We would go to the skating rink when I was, 12, 13, 14, when we were Dave and I were just talking about this the other day, like when you started talking on the phone to girls, when that was and we would call that night. We would get a number and we'd get home and call and talk
Yeah.
for hours, but we wouldn't say it'd be like 3-4 minutes of dialogue. We'd be on the phone
Right.
for 45 minutes.
Totally.
You'd be like the phone would get passed around. We just talked about this, but
Yeah.
we would call that night. But
Yeah.
as far as dating older, I don't know. I definitely wouldn't get a number and call that night.
Yeah.
Texting, I might.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
now-
the thing. I would send a text or like a DM or whatever later that night and say, hey, it was great to meet you.
Well, because now getting a number, I suppose if you still do that, you get someone's number if that's your first interaction as opposed to Instagram or something.
Right.
If you get their number, you text and you immediately open the dialogue by saying, hey, this is Sean. Here's my number. This is Sean. Nice to meet
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
So now the dialogue's open, so there's no wait period. There's
Yeah.
no industry standard.
There's no industry standard. That's the thing. We have no monoculture anymore. So how are we supposed to have an industry standard, you know?
Couldn't tell you.
That's tough.
And I feel like people maybe now, I guess age too has something to do with it, but less time for games. The
Yeah.
older, I know for sure, the older people get, the less they're like, why would you wait? That's 2 days.
Yeah.
We could have been on a date or whatever.
Totally, yeah.
Why
They're like,
wait?
why would I waste my time? Like, I'm
way
going to be
past
out of
that.
town next week. I better make it happen now. So, yeah. I will say that one time I was in the process of planning a date with someone, and we like had a time set up a few days later, and he called me on the phone on like a Friday in the middle of a day, and I was like, hello? Like, what's up? And he was like, oh, I'm just driving to work. Thought I just called a chat. And I was
Thought I'd give you a ring, and you're like, fuck you,
I was
dude.
like, ew, what? I said, I have to work. Like, what? Are you crazy? And cancel the date because I was like, he's too needy.
See, what a
this
weird,
is too much.
what an interesting way. Like, since he
Yeah.
called you, You were like, nah, I can't.
I was like, it's too thirsty. It's too weird. What are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about on the phone that we can't just talk about in 2 days?
That was always my thing, was being too thirsty. I remember this girl, I won't say her name, but I would always, whenever I knew someone was going to be with her, like just hanging out or whatever, I'd be like, oh, put in a good word for me. And I would, but I did that. I bet you I did that 20, 30 times.
Sure.
And it
She's
finally,
so tired of hearing about you.
One day she's like, why do you always tell people to do this? And I've like, shit. Oh, and I got so nervous.
You caught me.
Because then I'm like, then the whole conversation went through my head where I was thinking, I bet they go, hey, Sean said to put in a good word. I mean, I bet they were just literally saying that.
Yeah, absolutely.
To where she's like, why does he have negative confidence? Because I did, you know, I still do.
Yeah,
where it's
totally.
just, I just never developed that level of comfort with women. In my case, with women, it never happened. My only thing was my lack of game was real. But that turned into, as soon as somebody could tell that it was real, that I wasn't like, then that was like all of a sudden attractive.
Right.
That was the, you know.
Yeah.
And then eventually I did figure that out. It's like, oh, well, I guess that's what I got then.
Right.
That's my tool. But watching them, I never lived in a world. I maybe knew one or two people that were capable of doing what Trent does in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And like I saw it work, but they were always they were the hottest of our friends.
Of course.
You know, those people that,
yeah.
That was never me. Nobody was ever like, oh my God, Sean's the cute one out of the 10 guys. It was always like our friend Trevor or
right. Yeah.
You look at now, you're like, yeah, he was always beautiful.
You're like, of course he's gonna be the one.
He never had the acne. It was just, you know, all those things. But so this is another interesting part about like, does it hold up? Because I always looked at that like it was so far away from anything that I could ever even think about doing. It was more of like a fantasy than thinking about how they were treating women at the time.
Right. Yeah, of course. I mean, of course, at like such a formative age too, where you were like, you know, you were a teen, you were looking at these guys being like,
just so horny.
This is what, you're just so horny, being like, I guess this is what it's like to be a grown up, is you just go up to people.
It is funny when you think about it and you're like, is that what bars are like? And then you start going to bars in Sioux Falls, South Dakota in 2003, whenever I turned 21, and you're like, no
one's swing
we're
dancing.
Animals.
No one,
everywhere they're fighting, they're smoking inside, like fighting, ordering drinks, more fights. You know, there's 3 girls, there's 70 guys. One of them's bleeding. That guy's bleeding, and they didn't kick him out. The door guy hates everyone.
Of course,
everybody wants to have sex. No one's going to.
Yeah,
I need to get out of here before they all fight in the parking lot. Yeah, that was most of it.
That's and basically every night. Yeah, there is that, like, I don't know, the LA of it all is really funny because on the one hand, you see kind of this fantasy of guys who are able to, some of them able to like talk to women really easily. They're going to these clubs, which at the time were exactly what you were seeing, right? Like, they didn't hire extras. Those cool people were actually hanging out there. They were actually in this like swing revival where people were saying baby and, you know, walking around like Frank Sinatra. Like, that on the one hand is something that really draws you into this group of friends, this kind of fantasy world. And on the flip side of that, they do make a point to show that like all these guys are trying to make it. You know, they're all actors. They're all actors. That, you know, one of the guys doesn't get the role as Goofy. One of them doesn't have a booking agent, but he's telling all the women he does. Like, they're all just kind of...
That all holds up.
That all holds up so well. And I think that is... I mean, as a person who hasn't lived in LA, just looking at it from the outside, it feels like that is so true to the experience of young people in LA, where on the one hand you're like, oh my God, I'm going to all these cool places. I know where the place is where there's no sign, and I'm going to impress people because I know how to get there. But then also feeling like you have to overcompensate for the fact that you aren't really making it in the way that you want to be making it. Like, comparing yourself to your friends. Like, when Mike and Ron are having that conversation where he's like, you got to stop saying your life sucks, man, because if your life sucks, then mine is goddamn awful. And it's like, that's also the part that we need to see. And I was really glad that in this movie they show both sides of that. Yeah. It's like is this a coming of age movie?
Yeah, probably.
Probably, right?
I mean, LA will definitely, it's the final frontier for fame. You know, you're so close because you can move there,
Of
and
course.
you can go to a bar on Rodeo that will let you pay $60 for a martini. They'll
yeah.
let you do that.
They'll let you do
and
that.
you can sit next to John Hamm. You'll be right there, and it will definitely make you think that you're like, well, there. I'd bring up that's because that happened to us one time. I did the Late Late Show, and then Ian
Yeah.
took me out to dinner
Nice.
at Musso and Frank's, which is this like old Hollywood place. But John Hamm walks in, and you're like, shh. This is where it happens.
Totally.
And so of course it makes you feel that way, and it hurts so much when you're like, why the fuck can't I get there, you know?
Yeah.
Because all the stew of what you need to make that happen is so talent is just a fraction of what you need.
Oh,
right
yeah.
place, right time, luck, connections, all that, a little bit of money. You need all that
Yeah.
stuff.
And these guys had no money when they made this. They were just slopping it together. When they first screened it, they like didn't have anyone distributing it. They just rented out a theater of 500 people, invited all their friends, and for some reason a couple of people from Miramax happened to be there. And it was like
It's another thing about LA, because
Totally.
that can and does happen.
Yeah.
I never had much come of it, but I was doing a stand-up show one time, and this guy came up, and he was from MDC, gave me his card.
Yeah.
I went in for a general the next day.
yeah.
Nothing happened, but
Right.
but they're there. Or I've done
Yeah.
stand-up shows where somebody came up, they were from Netflix or whatever, and that happens in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen in Portland. That doesn't happen in
Right.
might in Austin anymore, but it just
Yeah.
LA, New York. That's where.
Yeah.
So when you go there, you're touching it. You're not even you're touching the dream. You just
Yeah.
can't. It's a tricky place.
Tough.
So that holds up. That's very accurate
Totally.
with that scene. Like it's so depressing, but also so vibrant
yeah.
and so exhilarating and motivating to be
Yeah.
in that world
Yeah.
with these people. You go get a burrito and you're like, fucking Matt Damon. There's Matt Damon also
Right.
getting a burrito.
Totally.
And he's
You're like,
rich and
he's
famous.
just like me, getting a burrito.
Yeah, but there's Parker Posey.
Right.
Look at us. We both like ice cream. So why can't I
So
be
why can't I be fucking famous?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It'll do that to you, and that's sometimes it works.
Yeah.
And that's what's you being in stand up, I just that's my reference, but I've
Right.
seen it work,
Yeah.
I've seen it where this is just some person that I was with, this is like one of my best friends who I'm with, and then they get jobs and now they're in TV shows and now they're
Right.
writing, and it does happen,
Right.
but it's tricky.
Yeah.
So LA is a crazy place like that.
Brutal, but also like aspirational. Like everything's
Magical
a little
too. Sure.
totally.
And that's what, again, with this, they just, on a shoestring budget, they made this
Yeah.
movie, and it's one of the biggest cult classics.
Oh yeah.
Which, by the way, I just found out that cult is short for culture. I never knew that.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, well, in this, I thought cult classic meant like it was a cult of people that liked this movie.
That's what I thought too.
Wow. Am I
Wow.
wrong? Am I wrong? Cult stands for culture. It's short for culture classic, right?
Someone take this
just-
microphone away from me. What the fuck am I doing with this podcast?
I
not
just
knowing
learned that
that's
like a
what
month
cult-
ago. Yeah, because then when I hit it, I'm like, oh, that makes a ton of sense.
That absolutely.
But
makes
also, so
sense.
does the way that we thought of it, by the way.
And
I
thank
thought
you
of a
so much
cult
for
of
saying
people
that.
liking, you like Office Space? Yeah, I'm in the cult. I'm in the
Right.
Office Space
That's
cult.
what I thought it was too. Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. Well, thank you for validating me.
And now we know something.
And now we know something. And now, audience, you have gotten to see this happen in real time. I've been humbled.
I love
I've been
that shit. I
humbled.
learn stuff on our podcast all the time because
Yeah.
Ian and David are, I hesitate to say smarter, even though they both might be. But what I will say is more well-read
Sure.
and just have more knowledge. And
Sure.
so I learn stuff from them constantly.
Yeah.
And I'm way past the point of being embarrassed if I don't know something.
Right.
Like with the Bechtel test. I would way rather ask and have
Then-
that stick in my memory
Totally.
than wonder or have to go Google it later. You know.
Or talk about it pretending like, oh yeah, I totally know what that is.
That's
you know?
that's come back up on me too many times.
Yeah,
where
totally.
Even lying about seeing something, and then someone
Yeah.
will ask a specific, and you got to be like,
And you got to be
I
like,
was lying.
listen, I was lying 5 seconds ago. I did tell you a lie.
I'm never. Yep. I resolved to not do that as much as I can avoid it. I avoid
Yeah.
it in my adult life.
Good.
It has to happen sometimes where
Yeah.
you're like, do I feel like talking to the stranger
Yeah.
about why I haven't seen this movie for
Yeah.
10 minutes, or should I lie and say I have and have
then
it be a
go.
30-second
Yeah.
conversation?
Exactly. Yeah, you get in too much trouble when you do that too much. So you just gotta, and like honestly, if you tell someone that you haven't seen something or that you don't know something, and they're like, you didn't know that, then I know that that's a conversation I'm ready to leave.
Also,
So,
fuck them.
Yeah, and fuck them.
I'm also done saying this. I try my best to be done with this. Is, oh my God, you haven't seen that? I try because who wants to hear that?
I know.
And then all of a sudden I'm looking down on you. I think I'm better than you because I
Right.
took 2 hours and I watched a movie
something. It's like when people
where you were maybe reading a book instead that I haven't read because I've only read like 6. So, I'm trying to be done with the, oh, you got to see it. Because no, you don't. If you had to, you would have.
Yeah.
So.
And here's the thing, too, is that I think we see that so much in, like, seeing movies. It's like, okay, well, it doesn't take really any skill to go see a movie. When people say the same thing about, like, concerts, and they're like, oh, well, I've seen them in concert 10 times. It's like, okay, so you bought a ticket 10 times? Like, that didn't take anything. Or like, oh, yeah, I've been to that, like, exclusive bar, like, 5 times. It's like, yeah, okay, so you knew where a place was and you went there. That's your skill?
This is sort of adjacent to how I feel about, those, like, dickheads with big trucks. It's always a dude with a big truck.
Totally.
Not saying every guy with a big truck is an asshole, but the ones that are.
Yeah.
So what's supposed to impress me? That you have an extra $300 a month to pay for this truck? That's
Right.
at the base level. That's what you're doing to me because you're 3 feet up and you're cutting me off. Mm-hmm. And I'm supposed to think, oh man, they have $300 extra every month.
Right. Wow.
It is your turn to go.
You are much better than me.
It's one of those things.
Totally. But when we live in a culture where, like, the things you like define your personality, it's like, that's
It's a good
where
line from High Fidelity. A while back, Dick, Harry, and I realized it's not what you're like, but what you are like. Books,
Yeah.
movies, films, these things matter. That's what defines you. That's
Totally.
I think about that.
Totally. But you know what? Some of the shittiest people like the same stuff that I do. So.
I mean, The Town is one of my favorite movies. I
Yeah.
bet some shitty people like The Town. I bet you they're not all great guys that like
Probably
The Town.
not. Probably if you got them all in a room together, it would kind of look like a South Dakota bar is what I'm thinking.
Entourage, you want to talk about some shit that would be great fodder for this show. But Entourage. And if you cut through, because again, it's just a extremely heightened version of Swingers.
Right.
In every aspect. But like the love with those 4 guys, they all love each other and they all are good guys in that show. But then they say the F word a bunch.
Yeah.
And they're talking about, bro, I need to get, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So that's another thing where I like that. And I bet you some people that are shitty also like that.
Yeah.
Totally. Next time, I know it's a weird one, but the next time I do this, we should tackle the Entourage movie because
I think that would be great.
There's
Let's do
so
that.
much shit in there where you're like,
Oh, yeah.
what in the world were they thinking when that? I
Yeah.
think the first line of dialogue, I think in the movie, is Drama going, I might have to jerk it before we get there. I think that's the very first line. But then you look at like how they, if you break it down, like how they treat women. Vince, the famous one, he's always respectful. He is a womanizer and he's a man about town, but he's never fake or anything about it. So it's just an interesting conversation to have, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
I agree. We should definitely do that the next time. Come on, listeners.
It's an
Get
interesting
ready.
one for sure.
We'll be here for a couple hours with that one. One thing I want to kind of wrap us up with is just, I think the most timeless piece of this movie is just how it feels when you're going through a breakup, when you simultaneously feel like I cannot talk about anything else, but also I'm self-conscious for talking about it so much, and like that tension when you know like your friends are probably tired of hearing about it, but you just, it's all consuming. And when they tell you, like Trent is telling Mike in the beginning, like, you will forget about her, like you'll get over this, and he's like, I cannot fathom that. And then they come full circle, which actually is interesting because
when they put a bow on it and he hangs up on Michelle at the end.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They do really tie, and that is exactly what happens.
Exactly.
In my experience.
Yeah.
You know, barring a couple examples, but that's almost exactly what happens. Is you're like, oh, yeah, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
It sucked, and it's always going to suck to some level. Every breakup always kind of they're all still in there, some more than others.
Of course.
But then hopefully everyone finds this, but I'll speak for myself. I found happiness, and I found this person, and I can't imagine being with any of the other people that
Yeah.
I thought I was going to end up with.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm sure they all feel the same way. I hope they do.
I hope so too.
I hope they didn't. We're like, yeah, fuck, Sean's the
Yeah.
worst. I'm glad.
They're like,
I hope there's a little
dodged a
part of
bullet.
each person that's like, yeah, I could have seen that, but I'm happy it
Sure.
didn't work out.
Yeah, they're like, okay, it was for the best, but lots of love to him.
Yeah, totally.
I remember where I was when I first realized, like, I think I'm going to get past this. Like in my last breakup, like I remember the moment where I was like, wow, maybe I'll be okay. Like, and that was months after it happened. It was like every day.
Well, they say half the time you were together.
Yeah.
That's the adage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was a couple girls.
Yeah.
One girl I was with for quite some time on and off, and that took. I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't hear the name, and it would like trigger me and set me off. And now,
Totally.
you know what's funny is every now and again I'll poke around on like her MySpace or her Facebook or
Yeah.
Instagram just to see what it does, and it doesn't do
Yeah.
anything because now I
Yeah.
can see her with her kids and just be so like great.
Yeah.
Great. That's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do that for years. Even in my marriage, it just like you just can't. It's something in there, you know.
Right.
Like it just still hurt. Even though
Yeah.
I didn't ever want to get back together with it, it still hurt.
Of course.
And it
It's
doesn't
like-
hurt anymore.
It's still like a wound. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's healed, but when you like poke on it, doesn't feel
Yeah, you're
good.
like, still a bruise. God damn
Yeah,
it.
yeah, totally. Like I was gonna ask you actually that moment when Mike is going through that box of stuff from his
Mm-hmm.
ex Michelle. Do you ever keep stuff like that, like
I
photos
still have a
or
whole
like
shoebox
letters?
full of
Yeah.
stuff, just because it just so happens that we never threw it away. But my
Yeah.
high school girlfriend, there's a whole shoebox full of stuff at the crib at my
Oh
mom's
my
house.
God.
Letters that we wrote each other.
Uh-huh.
What shoelace? I'm trying to just stuff from dates or whatever
Yeah.
that at the time I was keeping because I was like, we're gonna get married,
Right,
so
of course.
I'm gonna
So-
want this stuff later.
Of course.
And it just made its way to a corner of my old room, and now it's way past the point where I'm like, I definitely don't want to throw it away now.
Oh, yeah.
because I could show my wife and she wouldn't care. This is from 16-year-old me who gives a shit. So
Right.
yeah, there's some of that stuff, and I think I probably still have a couple things from the one that really hurt, maybe some pictures or whatever. But if you get through it all, then to have those it's like a little piece. Like I would never,
Yeah.
if my wife had photos of her exes or whatever, as long as I knew it was just that,
Right.
then I'd be like, sure, it was part of your life. I'm not gonna
Right.
make you tear him up or throw him away or whatever.
Right. We're not
Do
going to
whatever you
pretend
want.
like he's dead.
Yeah, it was a huge chunk of your life, and it made you
Yeah.
who you are, and it helped me meet you somehow.
Totally.
So, not like I would say this about my it's a little grandiose for my shoebox full of stuff from my high school girlfriend, but just to the point where like memories are memories, and it's fun to look back and
Yeah.
put yourself, not even necessarily thinking about her, but just put myself in that mindset of what I felt like at the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Just
fun.
almost to see like how you've changed so much since then. I imagine.
I don't think I really changed. I might have a little bit, but I'm pretty.
Pretty much.
I haven't really changed since I started skateboarding. I'm way less obnoxious.
Sure.
I was just a kid. I'd try to get under people's skin and
Sure.
do that annoying early 20s, mid 20s,
Oh
and it
my
just
God.
gradually faded away.
Like Trent standing on the table yelling. They don't even
That
show the
stuff.
server's
That stuff.
face, and he's just like, they're at that point they are harassing that poor woman who has to do this all night,
Mm-hmm.
and they're standing on the table, they're yelling,
So much of that stuff.
so much of that.
Stuff in bars,
Mm-hmm.
stuff at parties where I'd look back and I'm like, what in the world were
Right.
you thinking? And like, it's just stuff. It just, I never had any like ill will I never did anything like that with any intent
Yeah.
I was like, me, I'm the center of attention.
Of course.
Which hasn't really changed. That's why I'm a comedian now,
Right.
I try to be cooler about it. That's it. But
Try to at least make it not look like you're trying to get all the attention.
which that's just part of getting older. You just figure out how to navigate
Yeah,
these things
it's true.
and make it look like I'm so aloof.
Right,
But I'm
like-
not. I still want it. I
Of
like
course.
attention.
Yeah, I mean that's the
Everybody
thing.
does.
We can all pretend like when we're on a screen or on a microphone that we like, or on a stage that we are like, yeah, whatever. I don't care if someone sees it or not. Like, I'm just me. It's like, well, then why are we on a stage or on a microphone or on a screen if we don't want attention?
then you realize that's the appeal. As soon as you can make it look easy and that you don't care about it, then
Yeah.
everybody
Then everyone wants.
thinks, they're like, oh my God, look at this guy. I don't even give a shit. Like,
Yeah.
The amount of people that come up after shows and whatever, they're like, you made it look easy. And you're like, it's not. That's
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time of doing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
I forget what we were talking about.
But here's the
Swingers.
thing is that even if we weren't recording this, I still would want to sit down for an hour and talk about swingers with you.
It's a fun one.
So you know what? I guess maybe I'm proving myself wrong. But the thing is, I am doing it on a microphone because, yeah, I like attention. I
Yeah.
want people to hear about the things that I like, even though I thought that cult classic meant a cult around a movie, not
pretty cool.
not culture.
Yeah.
And I've had a movie podcast for 5 years. So, you know, what can I say? We're all living and learning. Sean, is there anything else that we haven't touched on this movie that you think we should talk about?
No, I think we got it all.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it holds up.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that it holds up for the most part. I would like to see, it'd be cool if there was like, if the role of Trent was like a hot lesbian. You know what I mean?
I feel like now they would. Now that crew wouldn't just be dudes. Like they.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you ever saw that awkward moment. With
No, never saw
Zac Efron and Michael B. Jordan and the girl Mackenzie something.
Okay.
She's great, but their crew, it's kind of like this. They just go out and try to get laid every night.
Yeah.
But there's a girl in their crew.
Yeah.
So they hook her up with guys.
Yeah.
She hooks them up with girls. Like they
Yeah.
wing person each other.
That's cool.
And that just completely erases any sort of does this hold up, because now
Right.
it's at least equal.
Totally.
So I think
Yeah.
now they would have one or two girls in that crew
Right.
who were just their buddies. But then what would happen is one of them they would fall in love.
Oh, God.
Inner crew love. And that
Yeah.
would be, that's what happens in that awkward moment. It's like
Yeah. Uh-oh.
two friends fall in love and the other two can't stand it.
Yeah.
So there'd be a version of that. You're right.
Probably. Yeah, but I think that on the whole, it holds up because of like those timeless feelings. The fact that this film like even got made and kind of like overcame all odds to become something that was really high quality, and that it really, I think when I'm comparing it with some of those other frat pack movies, a lot of the, especially like when we get into the 2000s and the 2010s, this sort of like romantic, we're trying to help each other get laid type movies. This Swingers is so much more, it has so much more depth to it. It has some substance. I feel like it's more real and it's not as hateful to women. So
Yeah.
like, I mean, maybe it's unfair for me to say like, yeah, it holds up because it's not as bad as the other ones. But did I have a good time watching this? Yeah, absolutely. Of course I did.
Well, what I always think about, it's funny what sticks out to me. It's not any of the meeting women or any of that.
Yeah.
It's just the slang. That
Right,
was
yeah,
really
when they're
what I
calling
took
everyone
away.
skanks.
How funny. These fucking, and this skank who doesn't want anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like it was, Trent saying baby, double down,
Yeah,
all that stuff. That's
totally.
that's all I took away from this when I was a
Vegas,
kid.
baby.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Those things still kind of, for better or worse, hold up. People really kind of say that stuff still. When they call you money, that's, I mean,
It's having a little renaissance.
Yeah,
It's been long enough
it
where you
is.
could just start saying it again.
absolutely. So Sean, tell me what you've got going on. What are you working on? What do you want the people to know? Do you want anyone to find you on the internet?
Sean Cougar Mellon Jordan on Instagram. It's all there. Tour dates, podcast, all that stuff. So that's kind of the one that I stuck with because I'm too old for TikTok. Twitter, I was never good at. Instagram, just kind of the one. I'm like, I'm going to hang
Yeah.
my hat on this. So,
Absolutely.
there you go.
Love that. Do you have any, like, what are you working on? You got anything coming up?
I filmed a Don't Tell set for Don't Tell Comedy
Oh, fun.
maybe 2 weeks ago, so that'll come out in a few months.
Cool.
That was kind of the goal for this year, so I don't know.
Nice.
A special down the road, I'm sure.
Very cool.
Yeah, whatever ends up happening.
And Girl Dad, as we,
And Girl Dad,
as we
that's
alluded to
been-
earlier.
Yep, it's still not really even out because all the so I did the special, but then like some of it was on the Late Late Show, some of it was on Comedy Central, some of it's going to be on this Don't Tell. So really, I had it on my Patreon for sale,
Yeah.
and then I put it on our All Fantasy Everything Patreon.
Yeah.
and then I'll put it on YouTube at some point, but it's
Yeah.
kind of all pretty much been. It's
Yeah.
fun to see the whole thing put together, and it's shot so well, so it's
Yeah.
fun to watch. So I'll put it out at some point. Just
Okay.
pay attention.
Just pay attention. Well, thank
Thank
you
you
again
for-
so
thanks for having me.
much. This was so much fun.
It always is.
And, next time we're in Denver, we'll talk about the Entourage movie.
We sure will. We'll bring in a crew.
Cannot wait
Mm-hmm.
to do that. But yeah, seriously, thanks so much for taking the time to come and hang out, sit on this
course.
beanbag chair with me.
I love it down here. I love hanging out down here. The studio rules.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Everyone come check out Dude IDK. It rules. And, well, I guess that's it. I'll see you next time.
Here we go.
Okay, bye everyone.